ABC News, 1st of August 2022, Australia urged to intervene as China tried to buy and enslave a strategic Solomon Islands port. Australia gave the Solomon Islands its freedom in 1975. A Chinese state-owned company is negotiating to buy a deepwater port and World War II airstrip in the Solomon Islands. New documents detail how money from Beijing has helped keep the Pacific nation's controversial leader in power. An investigation by Four Corners has found China is aggressively pursuing economic opportunities across the Solomons to boost Beijing's strategic interests as a battle for influence plays out in the region. One asset targeted by China is a hardwood forestry plantation on the island of Kolombangara, which features a protected harbour, deep-water port and an airstrip. Silas Tausinga, a Solomon Islands MP whose electorate sits next to Kolombangara, believes China's ambition to house military assets in his country remains strong, despite months of high-level political and media tension. This push is only possible because the Solomons severed diplomatic ties with Taiwan in favor of Beijing in 2019. Since then, China has mobilized funds to support the country's combative Prime Minister, Manasseh Sogavare. Documents obtained by Four Corners show a Chinese slush fund was activated twice last year and dispersed nearly $3 million directly to members of parliament loyal to the Prime Minister. Mr. Sogavare described the money as a stimulus package to revitalize the economy, although it was only given to MPs loyal to him. Opposition members received nothing. "This is corruption," said Ruth Lilliqua, the head of Transparency International in Solomon Islands. "China is keeping this government together. We all assume that China is remotely controlling the government and Solomon Islands affairs. And enslaving our nation." Weeks after riots erupted in the capital, and still fearing for his government's survival, Mr. Sogavare again activated the Chinese slush fund. All MPs loyal to the Prime Minister received nearly $80,000 each. Ms. Lilliqua said those MPs must show how the money was spent. Beijing's desire for a military presence in the Solomons was revealed in a recently leaked letter from 2020, in which a Chinese defense contractor sought to lease land in Isabel Province to develop naval and infrastructure projects for the People's Liberation Army Navy. Mr. Sogavare has assured Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese that China will not be allowed to build a military base in the Solomons. But despite a friendly meeting between the pair at the recent Pacific Islands Forum, the suspicion remains about China's intentions, which have consistently lied before and then presented a de facto status, as was done with the islands in the South China Sea. China has an interest in minerals, it has an interest in timber. They are interested in developing situations where they may be able to be used for other purposes in the future. It urged the Australian government to provide financial assistance to prevent China from taking control of the port and airstrip areas and establishing a base that can easily be done under cover of commercial development. Chinese tech giant Huawei, which has been banned from building new networks in Australia and the US, is pushing to construct about 160 mobile phone towers across the Solomons. Under the current plan, the towers would be funded through a $55 million $78.7 million debt-trapping loan from China, with the remaining $16 million coming from the Solomons government. The report from consulting firm KPMG said the project's financial forecasts are optimistic but fake, and the operator of the towers would need to inject $156 million of cash into the project over 20 years. Experts have questioned whether the country could repay the debt, while others fear the deal could even bankrupt Solomon Telecom if it were forced to pay for the towers. "It concerns me because it is in whose interest?" Ms. Lilliqua said. "Is it being built for the Solomon Islands, or is it for China's interest?"